Okay guys, so the Star Wars Battlefront beta I think is now officially over. It certainly would appear to be on the PS4. I copied a nice little rage clip of me where I was playing on the level with the AT-ATs and I managed to get one of those, you know, the walkers, the things on the two legs. I pulled up in one of those and I was like, oh yes, because there was a guy who was camping deep in the hills and I thought, this is my opportunity to snuff him out. And then it just kicked me and went straight to the lobby and it said, we're just under some maintenance, thank you for playing the beta. I was like, no! Like Darth Vader when he drops to his knees, no! Yeah, it was just like that. But yeah, I was kind of annoyed about that. But yeah, it would appear that the beta is now officially over, and this one has kind of split the pack a little bit, really. You know, there's people who've been really looking forward to this and kind of knew what it was about, and after playing it, they're like, not very happy about it. Whereas, I'll give you my opinion on it. I'll tell you exactly what I think, and hopefully you will trust my opinion and trust it enough to say, well, okay, I might give it a look. I tweeted out yesterday and I said, I'm really enjoying. Is anybody else really enjoying the Star Wars Battlefront beta? And you know, a lot of people were coming back and saying, yeah, it was good, and then some people were tweeting back and saying, not interested, doesn't bother me. And I find it quite odd, you know. I'm not judging you or anything like that. I just find it quite odd that nobody really would want to branch out and try something a little bit different. I don't know, you know, each to their own, I suppose. But yeah, there's no judgment there. It's just no, we're not all cut from the same cloth. I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I thought it was really fun. A little bit disappointed they didn't have more of a variety to it. You know, it was just two game modes on, you know, the same two maps all the time. That left it a kind of a little bit stale. It left it just getting a little bit boring playing the same thing over and over again. But, you know, it's the beta. It's just there to be tested out. It's not there to give you the game as a whole and say, right, this is it. This is the game. And that's all you're going to get on the day. So enjoy it. You know, you get two maps, two game modes, and that's it. It's there to be tested, it's there to find out where the bugs are. And it would appear that there were many bugs and there were many problems, and there was a couple of, you know, update files chucked in there. There was one of the update files thrown in a few hours before it actually booted off, and I think it went offline, but I don't really altogether know what they fixed. But this game is by no means a finished product. There are many things to be given some attention before it's actually released onto the general public. And I would say one or two of those things are easily fixed, I think. You know, it just requires that bit of attention to balance it out. I think one of the biggest ones, and this is the one that it would appear to me has split a lot of the majority, is the fact that you have to play in third person. You see, I didn't make that mistake when I dropped in, because I watched a video from somebody who was saying, look, if you want to get the edge in this game, you have to play third person. Do not play it in first person. Even though it's a first person shooter, don't play it in first person, because you will leave yourself at such a disadvantage. And I wasn't too sure why that would be, but I had a kind of inkling, because, you know, myself, I'm a Modern Warfare 2 player. I loved Modern Warfare 2 in third person. Even though you've never seen any gameplay footage of that, I might throw some up, because people do still play Modern Warfare 2 in third person. I loved it. It gave you that extra bit of an experience that you wouldn't have playing it in first person. But the one thing it did do is it gave you an all-round wide, almost like a, I wouldn't say a 360 degree peripheral vision, but it certainly gives you more of a 180, and also an aerial view. So if somebody's behind a rock, you see them coming way before you would if you was in first person. So obviously you do get that bit of an advantage. And I do think that's a little bit disappointing that they've left it so that you have to, you know, your hand is forced to play in third person as opposed to first person, which a lot of people wanted a new first person shooter other than Call of Duty this year. I would say that one ideal way of getting around that problem is to make, you know, sort of like different lobbies, like they did with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, different lobbies to cater for different kinds of players. So you can have a third person playlist and also be able to play exactly the same game modes, exactly the same multiplayer games, but play them in first person as well. So it's catering for everybody, because I don't mind playing in third person, I really don't. I actually enjoyed it. It was a nice variable change. It was good to play something a little bit different. I don't always like to play in first person. And plus I was really quite happy with the animation and the you know, the details of looking at my soldier in front of me. You know, I love playing as stormtroopers. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a stormtrooper, not the snow troopers. I think they're called snow. We used to call them snow troopers when we were kids, but you know, the ones that have got the kind of Ku Klux Klan mask with the two slits in the eyes and the cape at the back. I mean the stormtroopers. Yeah, that you can buy the life-size sort of bodysuits for. I always wanted one of those. But yeah, third person, not an issue for me. Now, a couple of problems I think lay in the star cards. You know, kind of like if you think of, for those of you who haven't played it, if you think of Titanfall with its burn cards. Was it Titanfall with the burn cards? It was, wasn't it? It's sort of that thing, you know, it's something you get to use that gives you that little bit of an edge during combat. Now, some of them were very well balanced, you know, obviously you had your grenades in there and stuff, and you'd sort of chuck a grenade and then it would just, you know, it would sort of fill the meter back up until you was ready to throw your next grenade. And obviously, as the sort of game progresses on, you can unlock a few other bits and pieces, and eventually you get 3 star cards. Now, I used the jetpack quite a bit, and I thought the jetpack was very handy, especially when you were like trying to capture an objective. Say you're trying to secure one of the pods, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 guys turn up and you think, yeah, I just can't deal with all these people. You know, I'd just throw a grenade their way and then fly out of the way of the pod and just come back to it another time when I was, I don't know, I suppose in a better position to try and take it. But I found 2 of the cards actually a bit of a problem, and one of those is the force field. Now, I just think that force field is ridiculous. It seems to go on for so long, and I think they need to cut the timer down on it a little bit, you know, like they did with the jetpack. Because you don't fly for ages, you're not sort of like flying around the map like Superman. You get almost a limited boost and then it brings you back down to Earth. Whereas with the force field, it just feels like it seems to stay on forever and ever. And it's, you know, it's not susceptible to things like, I think it's cannon fire and plasma fire, but grenades, you know, it's vulnerable to. So, I don't know, I just found that a little bit annoying, and I could imagine lots of people using that at the same time. And the other one I didn't like too much as well was the sort of one-shot, rusty rifle type thing. Now, I did equip that, I used that, I can't think what it's called, but I did use that. And it's a very effective rifle, you know, it's good at long range, and it's good at picking people off from long range. But I found that people were running around this thing almost quick scoping with it, and at close range it was a bang one-hit kill. It was for me anyway. I don't know whether anybody else found that quite annoying. You know, there's a lot of high points and you just get a lot of guys just sitting on there with these rifles picking you off as you were trying to acquire the objective. So, mate, I don't know, maybe they can just tone those down a little bit, I'm not sure. I found some of the maps to be quite irritating as well. I got stuck a few times. And, you know, some of these, what was those craters all about? Why'd you have to fall in those craters? Did anybody else get stuck in those and you're trying to jump out and it's almost like a radiation? This is on the, you know, the game mode where you're securing the pods, the escape pods. I just kept falling down these random craters and I was like, I can't get out. How'd you get out of this thing? Somebody please throw me your hands so I can drag myself out. But, you know, not the biggest deal in the world, but annoying. But I would say for me the biggest problem, and again I know it's a beta and this is what it's all about feedback and things, but the biggest problem for me was some of the lag as well. You know, I wasn't experiencing lag to the point of you know, to the point of losing unfair gunfights, but I was feeling it was very jittery, very, very jittery. If you think of Call of Duty, you know, where you start off on the game and it's like, okay, go, and you start running and everybody's just running for the same room or the same, you know, the same corridor or the same choke point and everybody's pushing each other out the way. It's like the summer sales are just kicking in and everybody's mad to get to the shops. It felt like that sometimes, you know, it felt like you're running and you're getting pushed around all over the place. And sometimes I'd look around and think, who's that pushing me? And I'd look, there'd be nobody there. So I think there's a few bugs there that need to be fixed, but that's what it's there for. That's what the beta's all about. As far as I'm concerned, aside from a few other things, but I'm just splitting hairs here, it's fun. You know, I had really good fun, and I didn't find it to be like, you know, Battlefield Hardline, the Battlefield Hardline beta, and actually the Battlefield Hardline game, when it came out, you know, you'd almost struggle to go positive sometimes. On this, I never went negative once, and I don't consider myself to be a very good Battlefront player, because I've never played a Star Wars game before, but, you know, I found it easy to work out, and, you know, prove your worth, I suppose, and put up a good fight. Fight the good fight against the people who also know how to fight the good fight. But, yeah, it was fun, it was fresh, and it was something different, and I really can't wait for this to come out. I think there's just going to be so much more content packed into this game that it's going to keep me and a lot of people interested for a long time. But, you know, if you didn't find it your cup of tea and you were very disappointed, as I know a lot of people were, because they were expecting a sort of, you know, something a little more familiar and a little more innovative from a Star Wars title, then I'm sorry, but I liked it, so don't judge me. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and I will see you again. Apocalypse done. And basically we're all looking at each other and saying, oh yeah, you know, because on that day we'll be there and that day we'll be there. And somebody turned around and he says, yeah, on November the 3rd, which is just 3 weeks away or so, And I suddenly thought, bloody hell, you know, Black Ops 3 is going to be in a month's time. That's absolutely ridiculous. It just seems to have, since they, you know, done the teaser trailer and all the rest of it, it just seems to have come around really quick. So I know that this next month is going to fly by at the bat of an eyelid.